This game is probably one of my most anticipated releases coming in 2024. I got to play through some of the beta and let me tell you, it just made me even more excited to play this game. In this video, I'm going to be going through some of the features of this game and what we can look forward to in the full release. Now, Go-Go Town is a town simulation game. So you take on the role of the mayor and it's your job to fix up the town, build all the buildings, manage all the resources, all of those things to get the town thriving. You literally start off with nothing except an empty shop that it makes you build in the tutorial and some different zones where you can get your resources from. So it really is building a town from the ground up. And I think they've done a really great job of capturing this theme. It definitely feels like a management kind of simulator, but there's also some crafting elements and other things in there that work really well. So let's talk about the buildings. So in this game, there are lots of different buildings you can build. You can build residential buildings, which house your townies, and you can build shops for your townies and your tourists to shop at. There's also utility buildings, which you can build for things like couriers, garbage disposal, that kind of thing that help keep your town running. And each different building requires different things to build it, as well as different supplies and resources that it needs to be able to function. Now, where do you get these resources, I hear you ask? So in Go-Go Town, there are 4 different resource zones that you collect resources from. There's forestry, mining, fishing, and farming. So in the mining section is where you'll get things like stone and where you can manufacture concrete, bricks, metal beams, those kind of things. Forestry is where you get your wood. It's also where you manufacture things like planks, paper, windows, and all your other wood products. Farming lets you grow all of the fruits and vegetables that you need to supply your food shops, as well as have things like poultry and cows so you can have eggs and milk. You also have a whole bunch of different processes that you can do with your food. So you can roast your coffee beans, which is my personal favorite, or you can make bread, make flour, those kinds of things. And lastly, fishing is where you get your fish and crabs, which is needed for things like your sushi restaurant. All of these things combined make up the resource production for your town, which is what you need to stock your shops and make your town thrive. The game is definitely a give and take of building up more shops to attract more residents and more tourists, with balancing whether or not you can actually supply those shops. One of my favorite parts of the game is the terraforming that you can do. So you can completely landscape your town. You can make roads, you can make paths, you can make grassy areas. You can even create things like boardwalks, lakes, a little ocean view. It's really up to you how you customize your town. There's a lot of decorative items that you can add, which obviously boost your town as well and attract more tourists and residents. But there's so much customization and so much you can do with the town, which I think is really great. Now, roads are particularly important because your couriers will definitely need to make use of those roads to be able to deliver the different resources around your town once you unlock them. And you yourself can make use of the roads too, using your truck to haul resources across the various different parts of the town. My favorite mode of transportation is definitely the unicorn tricycle though. The bubble blowing is just an added bonus. The game is structured on a tier-based progression system, so as you progress through the game and hit certain benchmarks, you will then be given a challenge, and if you successfully complete that challenge, you unlock the next tier of different buildings that you can then build, or extra items for your existing buildings, which is pretty cool. Each day you will have a various number of trains arrive to the town, and these are what hold your tourists and your potential residents. Now, we all know that a town cannot possibly function with one person doing everything, so you need to recruit townies to your workforce to be able to run the town smoothly. To do so, you need to make sure your townies have a residence and then they can be assigned jobs. Now, in the beta, you don't actually have to do anything to get your townies to come to your town. They just come to make it a little bit easier for you to experience the demo properly. But in the full game, they all have different requirements that they need you to hit to be able to become a resident of your town, which is pretty cool. Once they join your town and they have a residence, you can assign them to different jobs. So you can put them to work at the shop, you can put them to work as a courier, garbage disposal, or in any of your resource zones once you unlock the function to be able to automate them. Now, one of the coolest features about this game is that you don't have to do it all on your own. You can recruit your friends to play with you with co-op functionality, so you can play with up to 4 people in your party to manage your town and build it together, which I think is really cool, especially in those early stages where you don't have the capability to automate things yet. having more than one person would be very useful. The game definitely has a fun graphic style, a fun soundtrack. It really is ticking all the boxes for me personally already in just a beta form, and I cannot wait to see what is coming in the full version. I think the one thing about the beta that wasn't as good as it could have been was the difficulty, because it did just feel a bit too easy to do it, but they've done that in a strategic way so you really get a feel for the mechanics of the game. The cool thing about this is you don't have to take my word for it. You can check out the beta yourself. It is an open beta, so you can go onto Steam and join the beta right now and have a crack and see what you think of Go-Go Town. I would love to know what you think of Go-Go Town and whether or not you're excited for the full version of this game. But that's where we're going to wrap up this video. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this has helped give you a little bit more information about the upcoming game, Go-Go Town. Until next time, stay caffeinated.